Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Secrets of the Sire. We do this every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, talkradio.nyc, and streaming live on facebook.com/Secrets of the Sire, youtube.com/Secrets of the Sire, and a whole bunch of other places that are just great places to be.
Yeah, other places that are places.
We are talking Avengers Endgame, we are talking Captain Marvel, we are talking Alita Battle Angel, and we are talking the Bud Knight. We are talking post-Super Bowl commercials. I'm your host, Michael Dolce, and as always, joined by my co-host extraordinaire, Mr. Hassan Godwin. How you doing, sir?
I'm better.
You're better?
Yeah, I was really bad Monday and Tuesday.
Really?
Food poisoning.
I feel...
Though I am instructed to inform the world that it wasn't the Super Bowl party that I was at where I contracted this food poisoning.
No?
Yes. Yeah, no, it wasn't.
All right.
So no lawsuits. But yeah, I'm way better now than I was, let's say, yesterday.
Well, that's good to hear. That's what I like to hear.
I'm happy about it.
You know, one observation I got to make already
What's that?
is the fact that it's just me and you tonight.
I know, we're alone.
The last
not
2 weeks, we've
not
had
totally
like
alone.
800 guests in studio. We've had Netflix producers. We've had podcast hosts. We've had bona fide celebrities. We've had bald-headed Spanish friends of ours. I can only say that.
I don't know if it was 800. I think you might be exaggerating. Just a little bit. You might be pushing those numbers. You might be padding that account.
Do you
a
think
little
so?
bit.
I don't think
maybe.
so. I don't think so.
I don't think 800 people could fit in this in the studio.
I think we've had 800, and now today we have 2. All right. Tonight we are talking
What are we talking about? What
Super
the
Bowl.
hell?
It was a Super Bowl.
Oh, you
sucked.
gave the lead away.
All right. First of all, there's no lead.
We're supposed to build to that though.
This is the show, so there's no like leading into the show.
But they could just
like,
turn off now because they already know how we feel about it.
We're not here to talk about the Super Bowl.
We were robbed. We were cheated. Not the show, but you're talking about what everybody usually watches for. They don't watch for the game. They watch for all the intermission stuff, the trailers, the commercials.
That was the best part of the Super Bowl.
Oh, you're saying the ball game.
I
watched that ball game, and
the mere fact that you're calling it a ball game.
It was a ball game. That is
speaks to the audience that we actually show to, because quite frankly, Darren, who was the bald-headed Spanish fellow that we love,
I am sure Darren Sanchez.
Darren and I,
people figured that out.
Darren and I are both big sports fans, so we actually watch for the football.
In armor, playing with a ball. That's what it is, and therefore, it is a ball game.
I know, but
I don't care what the parlance of our times is about it. It is a ball game. I watched the ball. I'm respectfully referring to it.
Like 80s movie where the guy who's into like comic books and nerds and geeks are like, I did not like the ball game.
I didn't even dislike the
and
ball
the jock
game.
that beats them up.
I got listen. How it worked is I got to the Super Bowl party and
like literally you are pinned up against a fence right now.
I am not
by 3 jocks, and they're like we hate you because you're a nerd, and you're like, but I liked the ball game, and then they punch you.
Do you see 3 jocks intimidating me though?
No, because that's not what we do here.
Okay, I got to the party, and I was like, okay.
You went to a Super Bowl party?
Yeah, I know.
Tell me about the Super Bowl party.
I go to the same one for the last like 25 years. So, very good friends of mine, and friends of friends, and actually some mutual friends of ours were present.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, so Pats and Rands, right? So
did you call them the Rands? Like they ran?
I said Pats and Rams.
Okay.
Right? I say, okay, so what are we doing here, guys? And everyone was like, Rams. We're all Rams.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, okay, so what about the Patriots? And,
we hate
and
those
they're
guys.
like, oh, yeah, everybody hates them. Nobody's team was playing. Everybody just decided who they hated.
Yes.
So we're not rooting for the Rams. We're rooting against the Patriots.
I always say sports is an amazing analogy for politics. This is exactly the amazing analogy for politics.
I know. Wait.
When people say to you, get out and vote, and you're like, well, I don't like either candidate, They're like, well, vote against the one you don't like.
Nobody likes
That's
that,
what the
though.
Super
I
Bowl
mean,
is.
all the idealistic people don't like when you say that. How
no, I
dare
know.
I have to vote against someone?
I know.
I want to vote for someone
I
because
know.
they think they live in the
I
utopia,
know.
and we don't.
That was
So-
that was our Super Bowl.
So I'm like, everyone's voting for everybody's rooting for the Rams, right?
Yeah.
So I'm all right. Then I'm a Patriots guy, just because I want to be different. And no one talked to me for the rest of the evening. I drank copious amounts of beer because no one talked to me.
That is like
also because I
that
was
is like
feeling
living.
queasy.
So I'm going to make this as non-political a political statement. That is like living in New York or California and being like, I'm a Trump guy. I'm rooting for Trump tonight.
There's a
I'm
ton
rooting
of-
for Trump to win the
there's-
election.
There's more than a few of them, and I've run into almost all of them.
Yeah.
Here in New York City,
I
it's
know.
totally fine. Love who you love.
There are Patriots fans who live in New York.
I don't
too.
understand the violence.
In fact, the head coach and the quarterback are Patriots.
Everyone at that party knows that I am not a football fan. That I'm not.
I'm just merely saying.
Every
what
one of
you
them
just said.
Every
All
one
right.
of them knew that. Okay, and every one of them knew that I was a fair weather fan. I was a casual observer. I don't understand why the vitriol. Why did I have to be hated?
So
you
So people that tune into our show are neither football fans, maybe nor Trump fans. I don't know. Maybe they are. I don't know.
no
But,
comment.
so why don't we talk about the trailers that debuted? And one in
I
particular.
wanted to do that, but you started talking about the ball game and then making fun of me about the fact it wasn't.
I
a ball
love
game.
the fact that you're calling it the ball
I'm
game.
going to keep calling it a ball game because you love the fact that I'm calling it a ball game, which actually means you don't think I should be calling it a ball
You
game.
absolutely should not be.
There you
calling
go.
it
That's
a
why
ball
why
game.
now it is a ball game. It is always going to be a ball game.
Oh my!
I'm only
going to
use that on you because I know that other people will start swinging at me if I call it a ball game.
Avengers Endgame
Yeah, I saw that.
had a trailer
Yeah, I did.
during the ball.
During the ball game.
Chris,
Yeah.
Chris, who's our producer
Yeah.
tonight, who calls it a ball game?
I do. Thank you. Thank you, Chris. Thank you. He knows better.
Oh yeah.
He knows
Oh good lord. Oh my.
It's a ball game. It's a game played with a ball. It's logic.
All right.
That's academic. That's simple academic.
So there were a couple trailers. Okay, and we're gonna get into
I know,
all
you
of them
keep
'cause
telling
we
me about
have
that.
no guest tonight, so we're
You
gonna
keep
just
telling me
roll
that
through all
too.
these. I'm gonna talk about the commercial that was the greatest commercial of all time, the greatest commercial crossover of all time. Avengers Endgame though kicked off the trailers. There's a Captain Marvel trailer. There's an Alita Battle Angel trailer, which we'll talk about as well too.
Yep.
Not new stuff necessarily
Nope,
though,
none of it.
but it's the first
Nothing
time-
we haven't seen.
But it's the first time we'll talk about it.
A lot
so
of
that's
people
good.
were watching the ball game last night, hoping for a glimpse of episode 9, which
crushing
they,
me every
Yeah, I know.
time. Like every
I know,
time you
I
say
know,
that, and
I know.
I know at this point you're just saying it to crush
I
me.
know. It's like at the end of the day. But
In the end,
yeah, in the end, it's at the end of the day. But no one saw it. Even though Lucasfilm said there's not going to be a trailer, guys. We're not going to be showing you a trailer. There's a whole bunch of people was on Twitter today and on social media like, damn, I really wanted there to be a trailer. Why was there no trailer? Why are they holding out? Why Lucasfilm is doomed. They know they're doomed. They know the movie's crap. That's why they're not showing it to us early. There's a whole bunch of our typical favorite Star Wars conspiracy theories. So like it's kind of funny as you talk about like this, those of us who refer to it as a ball game usually watch Super Bowl for the trailers, so for for the commercials and stuff like that.
absolutely.
So
Especially when the game is crap, which in the 80s and 90s it was crap.
like constant crap.
It was like 55-14. That was an actual score in 1994.
That's
That
not
game
a
was-
crap game if you were cheering for the team that had 55 points.
I repeat that I'm a Jet fan, so no. I was hoping for a good game.
I don't know why you guys even show up.
Hey,
but
hey,
anyway,
we've got a good quarterback going forward. Chris and I will do a whole podcast on it. It'd be great. Go ahead. You don't think Sam Darnold's good?
there you go. There goes that.
No, I know, but
There
Sam
goes-
Darnold. I mean, Sam
There
Darnold.
goes that assertion.
All right.
That's all wrong.
Everyone's like,
apparently.
I don't know who that Sam Darnold is. Does he look like Captain America?
I just know you're talking
Maybe.
about that snazzy ball game where you're playing with that pigskin.
All right. So Avengers
Grab
Endgame
that pigskin.
was one of the first trailers that came out.
Right.
But immediately people are kind of looking at it and saying, something looks kind of funny about this trailer. There's a lot of missing elements to this said trailer. So
there are missing elements.
IGN actually came up with an article, and they might be.
Egan came out with an article.
Did the Avengers Endgame Super Bowl trailer edit out a character? The Avengers Endgame Super Bowl spot had fans questioning some shots in the 30 seconds of new footage, whether if a character was edited out as to not give away any spoilers. Curiosity arose in regarding to two main shots which appear to have awkward gaps between characters. We've already a good idea of who survived Thanos' snap at the end of Avengers Infinity War.
Yeah, because they showed us.
Yeah, well, I know. But some characters' survivals are unknown. Fans are speculating if characters are edited out, it could be anyone from Shuri, who we know was considered missing from the Avengers Endgame trailer, but we never actually saw disappear into dust, to Iron Man, who is currently trapped in space, although in the trailer they kind of tell you how he's going to get out.
He's stuck in space, but he's got Nebula with him.
Well, Nebula wasn't with him in the original trailer, I think.
But he was with him at the end of Infinity War. She was with him.
Oh yeah.
So duh.
Oh yeah.
That's not hard.
Yeah,
That's
you're
not a
right.
difficult one.
You're a smart guy.
I watched the film.
The biggest spoiler that would be avoided, though, is if Captain Marvel was edited out of these shots. What do you think?
Why would that be a spoiler if we knew that Captain Marvel was going to be some kind of deal in Endgame?
She has no role. She has no role.
Yeah, exactly. That would be the spoiler.
Spoilers.
They went so far as to show us that Fury was calling her at the end of Infinity War,
right?
And her movie's coming first, specifically so that we'd be set up properly for. Come on, that's news for the sake of news. Egan needs to I don't know. They should be ashamed of themselves. They're making a big deal out of nothing. What should be made a big deal of is how boring that trailer was. How completely uneventful that trailer was. It was just we're just gonna flash you a whole bunch of faces and
Do you know how much it cost? $5.25 million for a.
They flash faces and they darkened the color palette. That they show that the color palette was kind of grayed and washed out and kind of dark and grim, right? Grimmer than because half the universe disappeared. And, they talked a little bit about how the world was, empty, and they showed empty stadiums and stuff like that. Little sad moments.
Yeah.
I get it. But nothing happened. They didn't show us anything happen except for Captain America shaved his beard.
The only thing that, then they showed that in the first trailer, too. The only thing I thought was actually relevant, but you actually pointed out that Nebula was part of the
She was
group
there
anyway, so I was going to say that it was...
She was the one who set Star-Lord up to piss off fandom.
Yeah.
Because she told Star-Lord that obviously Gamora was dead because he went to whatever place and came back without her, right? So Star-Lord freaked out and punched Thanos in the face. Then somehow that freed Thanos, and he destroyed the world. So, but Nebula was there. Nebula was one of the only people other than Tony Stark to survive, to not disappear.
Yeah.
Everybody was focused on Spider-Man. Everyone was weeping because Spider-Man kind of turned to dust in front of him.
So before we go to commercial,
but we know there's another Spider-Man movie coming. So
before we go to commercial, do you think there was an edited out character?
Sure, they could have been. If they're gonna edit out a mustache on Superman's face, they could edit out a whole character. I'm sure there is. I just don't. I know we do this. I know this is the job, but there's some things I just don't want to know about a brand new big event that's coming up that I just want to see. I want them to reveal it. I don't want to sit here and I appreciate. I know that's what we're supposed to do, but I just can't stand how we just hammer away at the littlest, stupidest details and then decide to make a story out of no story. There's no story yet because you don't know if there was or there wasn't. Do it afterwards when we see it and we watch it. We compare footage again, and they say, "Hey, they edited out that footage. That's a story." Hey, watch out for this, guys. They're taken to manipulating our trailers from our vision.
Isn't that something though? Would that
it's
be?
It's ridiculous. You put the footage in there on purpose.
Let me ask you a question, and let me throw it out to our Facebook audience, our YouTube audience in general. Has that happened? Does anyone know? No. Does anyone know of a trailer that may have been manipulated
There's tons
before
of them.
it goes.
Tons of them.
When we come back.
Hi, everyone. My name is Michael Dolce, creator of The Sire from Mike Books. The Sire is about a superhero forced by his own costume to fight evil. It's like having a spider sense, but instead of warning him of danger, it actually puts him in danger. It was first launched back in 2006 through After Hours Press, and was met with tremendous success. 6 issues and a trade paperback later, I thought The Sire's journey had reached a good stopping point. But a funny thing happened. As I continued working in comics, writing for Zenescope and co-creating Descendant for Image Comics, fans would meet me at conventions and continue to ask when the next issue was coming out. Apparently, The Sire was far from done.
And that's why I'm proud to welcome you to this Kickstarter, celebrating the Volume 2 trade paperback for The Sire, collecting issues 7 through 10 and featuring an amazing cover by Jim Calafiore of Aquaman fame. The trade is an exciting way for readers, both new and old, to get into the character. And this trade doesn't just collect old material. It's jam-packed with almost 15 pages of new material, including a brand new prologue featuring the return of fan-favorite artist Daniel Leister.
Solidarity we were talking about.
Secrets of the Sire.
Welcome back to Secrets of the Sire. We talk comics, movies, TV, and pop culture every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, talkradio.nyc. Streaming live on Facebook.com/Secrets of the Sire and YouTube.com/Secrets of the Sire. I want to give a shout out to our patrons. Go to Patreon.com/Secrets of the Sire. Hey, it's a trend.
Imagine that.
How about that? Brought to you by our beloved patrons, Craig Caruso, Einar Peterson, Matt Byer, Ashley Haikai, Omar
Not her name.
Omar Morales, program director Stephanie Dolce, and as always, our Uber fan Christina Dolce. Okay, we were talking about the Avengers Endgame trailer, and I threw the question out: do trailers get manipulated in such a blatant way that Avengers Endgame potentially was manipulated, as per Jesse Wade's article on IGN?
Are you talking about like how was footage ever manipulated in general? You know, because we do have
cropping is different than like.
But we do have a phenomenon where they show like deleted scenes in the trailer, and then you go to the movie to see that particular scene, and that scene didn't show up, or the scene was cut differently when you actually watch it from how you remember it to be in the trailer. That has happened a zillion times. There's 150, or you know they manipulate trailers. They use soundtrack music from other movies to make the actiony events, the explodey actions in the trailers look more explodey and more exciting. So they've done that. There's a lot of trailer manipulation. There's no honesty. There's absolutely no honesty. There's
I agree with that.
None of it is honest. None of it is like, hey, give our show a shake. Like,
all right,
no,
Tara Maria Lombardo said they edited out Spider-Man in the Civil War trailer.
What does she know about? She doesn't know anything.
Did they?
Tara doesn't think you and I are friends also, by the way. So
we hate each other.
Yeah,
so it's okay.
absolutely.
Victoria Bennett,
yes, they did.
Victoria Bennett suggested
She's
that
right.
the new fan theory is that Far From Home takes place before Infinity War. And that,
yeah, I get that. And that could be...
The bus scene is actually them coming home from being abroad.
Fair enough. Here's the thing. 2 things.
Okay.
Tara's absolutely correct because they did erase...
We hate each other? Gotcha.
Yes, we do.
Done.
They did erase Spider-Man from Civil War.
Okay.
There is Victoria's might be correct. There is a possibility that it's a prequel. But why? What's the point of that? I'm not going to go see that if it's a prequel. Because
You
I
don't
know
think
how.
so?
Because I know how it ends. I know he turns to dust. So who cares what he does?
I disagree, though.
Spider-Man is coming back. There's no way Marvel. There's no way the MCU is killing Spider-Man.
No, they're not. They're not.
Spider-Man.
If Far From Home is a prequel, though, it has nothing to do with whether or not.
But it doesn't
like,
matter.
What happens in Infinity War, though?
If they're gonna, but here's the thing: what they should have done was not make another Spider-Man movie until next year, right? And it wouldn't be up on the roster, so everybody would say if this manipulation speculation thing is real, they'd be like, I don't even see another Spider-Man movie coming up the pike, you know? So Spider-Man might actually be dead. He might really be dead. He might be gone. But no, you're going to put...
Come on. Come on.
What are you giving me to come on for? If the other movie's
Come on.
The other movie is in production, then I'm like, come on. Of course he's coming back. That's ridiculous. Why would they erase him from... Maybe they did. Maybe he's erased from the trailer. Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? Nothing you see can be real. Nothing is real. Nothing can be substantiated until we actually see the film. All of it could be. None of the footage you have seen so far may actually be in the film. It might all be outtakes. It might all be deleted scenes. It might all be, like recut sequences. So I wouldn't really speculate. I think it's stupid because if you chose that film to put in your trailer, why'd you choose that film if you have to spend $5 million erasing somebody out of the footage? Why not choose other scenes without that spoilery character in it? Doesn't make any sense.
I don't disagree with that. I don't. So in that context, I say
sure they did it. Sure they did it, but who cares? I say they're dumb enough to do it, then sure they did it. Go ahead.
I was going to say let's move on to another trailer.
Of course we're going to move on because I was about to make a point. So, of course, that's what you want to do is always move on. I made my point. That's why I jumped over you and made my point because I knew you were going to change the subject.
Well,
that's what we do.
But you made your point.
I put a stamp on my point.
Oh, okay.
I put my
okay. So it's not just about making points.
It was my coup d'etat.
You need to put a LOTHR stamp on each point.
Yes,
is what you're saying.
I needed to put a Lord of the Radio stamp on my final point.
That was a Lord of the Rings stamp. Huh? That's what I was going for. Lord of the Rings.
I call it Lord of the Radio though. So fine.
Look at you
go.
All right, there's a Captain Marvel trailer, and the big mantra was higher, further, faster. Did it go higher, further, faster for you?
It looked good. The footage looked good. It looked great.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything new from it. I've seen her flying through space before. I've seen all the stuff in the,
my initial reaction was kind of like, what's the point? But then the other part of me is like, all right, it's a Super Bowl. I get it.
Yeah, and they show her in the Air Force. They try to get that jingoistic thing going. So that's cool.
Let me ask you a question. If you see an ad, not necessarily a Super Bowl ad, but most likely a Super Bowl ad where it says, go to the website to see the whole trailer. Do you ever do?
No.
No one ever does, right?
Because it's
Chris, do you? No, he's shaking his head.
And you know 5 minutes from now you're going to be able to see it all on YouTube without having to go to the secret.
But I guess even that, I think most people, they have like a statistic of some kind.
I think because of your original point about the manipulation of the trailers, or IGN's original point about the trailer being manipulated, I think people are just kind of tired of being manipulated. Everybody is into the hype train. You caught them with Infinity War. Everybody waited patiently the year. Now it's coming out in 2 months, right?
Yeah.
So all right, we've seen enough, and then sometimes I don't want to see a full 15-minute segment out of this movie, which is usually the high point of the movie anyway.
I don't think they need to do that in this.
I don't think they do
either at this point. I think the last trailer was the coup d'etat, which is great too, because sometimes,
that's what I'm saying about why would they manipulate? Like if they did it, like that's nonsense. Like manipulate, just cut that character out so that nobody knows. Like just cut that footage.
Yeah.
You got them anyway.
I know.
It's like Star Wars. You've got them anyway. I don't even care what people are talking about episode 9. They will show up. So stop it. But anyway, but IGN needs something to write about, and that's what that happened.
Hey, look, Jesse Wade is a fantastic reporter.
I'm not. I have no disrespect to those people in general, but they need something to hype out about, because we don't do journalism anymore. We don't send people to the sets. We don't have people having interviews with the lighting guy and the director of photography. We don't do that anymore. It's just all what if we're being lied to? What if we're being screwed? What if we're being misdirected?
Yeah.
What if we're seeing something that we're not really supposed to be seeing, even though we're seeing it and we didn't know we were seeing it until we saw it, and then we are upset that we saw it because it was a spoiler. What would we do? And that's what journalism is now. So, of course they need something to get the hype train going. But I don't think I don't think that movie's gonna suffer.
Let me ask you a question. Out of all the trailers that I was most impressed with, I got to be honest with you, Alita Battle Angel was the most impressive to me. No?
No.
And maybe it's because I'm not familiar with the source material.
I'm going to say something really, really uncharacteristic of me.
I'm all ears. Let's do it. Let's do it.
James Cameron has never let us down. There were some movies that he has put out. Yeah.
You're right.
There's some movies that he has put out.
You're not wrong.
That you're like, this is not gonna. What are you trying to do? We know the boat sinks, James. No one's gonna go see your stupid, it's a really expensive Titanic movie. Oh my God, James, are you talking? Did you make a movie about blue Indians and on an alien planet with floating rocks? James, no one's gonna see that. James,
Except
you're being stupid. Exactly. So here we go, Battle Angel, and everyone's like, her eyes are too big.
Alita.
Battle Angel. Well, yes, whatever. Alita, Battle Angel.
No, to be honest with you, I just did that.
Such an ass.
No, I am an ass, and I am very obnoxious about it because, quite frankly, leading up to it, I am so in the not know of this movie that I kept calling it Battle Angel Alita when I was just talking about it in general, like
because
in
I think
pre-production.
that's the manga is called Battle Angel Alita.
Oh, is it really?
I think so.
Am I like
I don't
super
know.
smart?
It might be Alita Battle Angel. I'm dyslexic, so I might have that back.
I don't know.
But it doesn't matter.
All right, awesome. Hey, look, if that means that I score some points
maybe.
for my own
But
geek cred,
okay,
I'm
Alita,
cool with that.
Battle Angel, right? Everyone was complaining about her eyes are too big and this and that is too big. I just think it's going to be a spectacle. James Cameron is good at giving us a spectacle. Is it going to be a quality film with meaningful, segments in it that tug the heartstrings and make us really think about the failures of our society at large? No. It's just going to be something we're going to go, wow, that was really pretty. And we're all going to keep throwing our quarters into the machine to see it, just like he's done with us.
Really,
I don't know if it's going to... I will not speculate that this movie is going to be another greatest movie of all time.
Mahershala Ali is... Mahershala Ali is in it as well, too. And that guy's fucking awesome. Ooh, bing. That guy's awesome. Like, you watch...
He's all right.
Are you watching True Detective?
Yeah, he's okay.
Wink, wink, nod, nod, because you keep telling me about how great True Detective is.
Uh-huh.
And I did watch the first episode.
That's why I'm saying
it was great.
That's why I'm saying he's okay. That's why I'm totally BSing.
Like, that's why I'm kind of sitting there.
You haven't seen the most recent episode.
No,
which we
I
won't
have not.
talk
I'm on
about.
episode 2. I'm on episode 2.
The most recent episode is unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's and I'm not talking about because of what happens in it, just because of the drama that's in it. It's really good. But yes, so like Mahershala Ali is fantastic. He's probably going to be underused in this because this is an action adventure spectacle. It's just this is probably a resume piece for him. It's not like Green Book or anything like that where he's
I mean, he was Hunger Games, so it's not like he needs a franchise necessarily. But that being said, he was a bit player in
so this
Hunger
is bigger,
Games,
it's a bigger piece for him, and everybody needs one of these.
But that being said, he's like one of those actors, though. I'm not putting him in Tom Hanks's category yet, but he's pretty damn close. Where you just sit there and go like, you just sit there and go like, all right, whatever he's in is going to be great. Like even if it's not great, it's still like I'm very happy that I plunked down whatever sum of money.
He's one of those
or
people.
my cable bill or my like rental, like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
no, I get what you're saying. So, I wouldn't count on him as being a saving grace for this movie. I think he's just going to be a feature in it. He's just going to be there. He might not even be there as much as you want him to. I just think it's going to be a spectacle.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be enough. for it. And I do not predict it's going to be another super movie for Cameron where it makes more money than any other movie that's ever made.
He's a producer in this, right?
Yeah. But I mean, he's been behind this project for a long time. No, he didn't. I don't think he directed this.
No,
but he's been behind this project for a long, long time.
Sure.
So he's pushing it. But if he's put his name on it and he's pushing it like that, it's probably going to be something.
I would imagine.
But it could be Ghost in the Shell. It could be another one of those.
You think so?
Could be.
Was he was a producer on that?
No, but I mean that was another manga live attempt to broaden and to three-dimensionalize a very famous manga movie, which was Ghost in the Shell with Scarlett Johansson.
Fair enough.
So and you remember what happened with that, right? that didn't work out so great. So
not a great movie, not
a terrible movie. Not a great movie, but it was panned. It hurt really bad.
Do you know what was not a waste of my time? And do you know what was actually the entire highlight of my night? Especially because the Rams couldn't put up more than 3 points.
I'm not going to help you with your segue.
I'll let you know when we get back.
Mm-hmm.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.
Hi, everyone. This is Michael Dolce, host of the Secrets of the Sire radio show and podcast, and welcome to our Patreon launch event. To date, we've interviewed actor Kevin Bacon and rocker Chris Cornell. We spent a wacky week with a Real Housewife and played Love It or Shove It, a comic book icon. We've debated which TV shows everyone should be watching and channeled our inner force comparing Rogue One to The Force Awakens. And that's just the beginning. Become an executive producer and get an exclusive feed inside our studio before and while we air. Become a program director and receive our exclusive show outline with insider details on topics and guests hours before we go live. Or just fan. And for a quarter a broadcast, we'll sing our praises on the interwebs every week. So if you like pop culture, movies, TV shows, and graphic novels, this is the Patreon page for you. Join us Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern, Secrets of the Sire.
Introducing The Mainstream, created by Michael Dolce, Talent Caldwell, Tony Moy, and Darren Sanchez. It tells the story of an interdimensional police force, polices alternate realities, keeps bad guys from other worlds from getting into ours. Issue 5 in stores now. Order it at your local comic book store or go to mikebooks.com/store.
Welcome back to Secrets of the Sire. We do this every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, talkradio.nyc, and streaming live, facebook.com/secrets of
my Wednesdays
the
back.
Sire.
I want my Wednesdays back.
You'll be getting them back pretty soon. Actually, pretty good.
Wednesdays
look what
anymore.
I just did there. Is that a little foreshadow? Darren C. Guzman just asked, what about the ball game's halftime show? Stop calling it the ball game.
Yes. Thank you, Darren.
The funny part is, with the exception of Ryan Bodenheim, who draws for Valiant Comics and has done a bunch of stuff at Image, no one in our industry is into the sports.
into them sports.
Darren Sanchez. Sorry, Darren Sanchez.
Yeah, Darren
Sanchez and I are into the sports.
Scott Klein?
Mike Martz.
Scott Klein?
Yeah, but Scott Klein does
He was at my Super Bowl party.
I know. Mike Martz, who is one of the founders of Aftershock Comics.
Mm-hmm.
He's into the sports.
He's into the sports. He likes the he likes the sportsmanship thing. Right. The ball games. He's into the ball games. So when you call
it the sports.
At least not like Mitt Romney, sport. I'm into sport. I really like sport.
The best commercial was not a movie trailer.
I don't agree with this. Now, let me hear. Let me hear why you think it's the best. Let me hear your rollout.
All right, I'll actually tell you exactly why it's the best. Okay, because Bud Light has been doing since last Super Bowl.
Yeah, this medieval,
the last big bowl, since the last big ball
game. Yeah, the sport game.
They've been doing the Dilly Dilly, the Bud Night, which to be honest with you.
And I like that they didn't bother to explain. As far as I know, I like that they didn't bother to explain Dilly Dilly.
It's such a great premise that they failed so miserably with their previous commercials. Like you sit there, go like the Bud Night, yeah, and then they make these commercials, and you're like, that could have been so much better. Like even people who are not writers, and I'm not a commercial advertising writer. I'm just talking about people in general watching it, going like. Yeah, we that could have been better. Like everything with the Bud Night could have been better.
Up until last year. Up
until Sunday when they upped their game and did the best commercial of the Super Bowl. Which was the Game of Thrones crossover, which was having the Bud Night
only
get
8
his
years
eyes
too late on the last year of Game of Thrones.
No, that's what made it even so much better. Is they did it. They finally did it. They had the mountain destroy the Bud Night with a la the guy who, by the way, is friends with a friend of mine. So I know the guy who knows Oberon, who got his eyes plunked out. I am the guy who knows the guy that knows Oberon.
Okay, all right.
And then the dragon comes and just blows them all up. Dilly dilly, awesome. Chris. Thumbs up, thumbs down.
It was so loud at my Super Bowl party, I didn't hear any of the commercials.
That too. My Super Bowl party, like they like to talk through the commercials.
After the fact, no.
It was cool to see, but I mean, I think the evening was and look. The difference between us is I was never looking into the Bud Light commercials for any potential whatsoever. I was like, oh, the Bud Night. That's interesting. That's all right. I like the commercial where the guy...
You just like picked up the comic off the rack and you're like, I don't know what the back history of this is.
I don't know what this is.
But then you see the editor's note and you're like, oh, there's a history there.
That's interesting.
Alicia Davis just joined. Literally just joined and said best commercial of the day.
I guess that makes it right then.
But here's the funny thing about that.
I like the commercial where he throws the two people in the dungeon because they try to make him drink mead.
Oh,
yeah, they tried to make the king.
I did some digging afterwards, and it took me a lot of time to find the press release that they released afterwards, and also to quote a Polygon.com article. HBO insisted the Game of Thrones Super Bowl crossover kill the Bud Night, so HBO actually went out of their way.
Now, can you tell me for a second, for a moment, what exactly was wrong with that commercial?
With what?
With the mountain.
Well, what do you mean? I don't get what you mean.
He was wearing the old Kingsguard
armor. God.
Hey, did you want to talk about this or what?
Holy.
Did you want to talk about this or what?
Bing, bing, bing. Shit. Bing.
Don't bring it up if you
According
don't want
to a press release that followed the
it's
debut.
Okay, you didn't know.
Well, wait.
You can just admit you didn't know.
So hang on. No, I did not know. Nor will I ever know. Nor will I ever care to know that. Oh my God.
That's an important detail.
All right. Well, here's the funny part about what you just said, and it actually segues into what I'm about to say. According to a press release that followed the debut, the spot was the work of two directors: Bud Light's Spencer Riviera, who shepherded the original Bud Night campaign, and David Nutter, the director of The Red Wedding, who reunited with more than 25 Game of Thrones crew members to shoot the commercial's conclusion. Seeing as the marketing for the final season is meant to be mysterious and scarce, show creators David Benioff and D.B. Weiss were personally involved with the creation for the spot. The real twist of the spot is that Anheuser-Busch ad executives were wary to embark on the crossover at all. Surprise, surprise. A Wall Street Journal postmortem suggests that those running the Bud campaign were wary over allowing the mountain to mash the Bud Night into oblivion.
I'm surprised they would let them do that. That's their
HBO's
mascot.
marketing chief, Chris, I'm going to butcher this.
Yeah.
Spadaccini. Actually, I didn't butcher it because it's Italian.
Maybe.
Dolce. Had other thoughts. The Bud Night
Maybe you
had
did butcher
to die. which is how we wound up with a brutal murder on primetime network television. That
you
is
got
probably
Spadaccini that you couldn't do murder. Did that just happen? Who's Myrtle? What the hell?
I'd argue with you if I had any leg to stand on. That's a drop, by the way. And if Hassan would get off his lazy ass and make that drop,
oh, there it is.
we'll have it next show.
There it is. That we'll have it next one. Fine.
Hassan's always like,
I've been shamed.
Hassan's
into
always
it.
like, you got to tell me when you want these drops to be made.
Scott, that we spent millions of dollars on being slaughtered by an outdated version of a pop culture icon, right?
Yeah.
That's probably not the best idea we could have come up with. Yeah, probably not. I mean, it got them a little bit of attention, though, right? What did it do for them? Do we have the metrics on?
So let me tell you right now. I'm gonna just go from my own personal stat meter. Okay. let me tell you about Bud Light actually a second.
All right, hold on.
Let me tell you about Bud Light.
I always listen to a story about Bud Light.
Bud Light was
Beer flavored water.
the premier drink of any college student. My wife will go on record and say
I
that
too attended college.
the yuppie college kids only drank Bud Light, whereas the poor
because there was
college
no
kids,
alcoholic content in it.
The poor college kids would go for Natty Light, Genesee Light, because that was the cheapest beer you could get.
Okay.
So
enough.
that was actually looked down on. This is the age. I know.
This is the age where Bud Light drinkers actually had someone to look down on.
The good thing is we don't have any millennial viewers and or downloaders. I'm just assuming we're all like fucking old as fuck as like us. Bing, bing,
Bing, bing, bing, bing, bing. What the heck?
That's what happens.
No one in the studio and
I
you
know.
just let it loose?
I know. Why not? Who gives a fork? Though I could drink like 12 of those, and it was amazing.
Because it had no alcohol in them.
I know. So
As I
Bud
said,
Light,
it's
Bud Light
beer-flavored
actually
water.
has a fond memory to me.
So
That being said, wait. The story goes somewhere. The story goes somewhere. Ready? But as I got older and the craft brewery scene started popping up, I started getting into craft breweries. I started getting into craft brews. And then I got old. I'm married and I have kids, so I'm old, right? I'm old old AF. And recently my wife
only
and I
old 'cause you got
and I say
kids.
recently, yes. I say recently at we were at a minor league baseball game this past summer, and there is a craft brew room that you can get beer from. My wife was tasked with getting us beer, as we're like literally shepherding our child to the train to ride around the ballpark because it's a minor league baseball stadium. It's great, and all you care about is just making sure your kid has attention 100% of the time.
Because
And she hands me
children thieves.
She hands me the beer, and I drink it and I go, "Oh, is this a Hefeweizen? Is this? It's got a lighter. It's got a lighter. A lighter. Is this? It's
shame."
And she goes, "It's a Bud Light." And I go, "It's delicious." So, my stat meter for that commercial was not only do I love Bud Light again,
Bud Light is wonderful,
but it was an amazing crossover with Game of Thrones.
I guess.
Quick
But
question before we
do
go
you
to-
think that they gained anything out of it?
I'm going to drink more Bud Light.
So
because
they
of that
gained you.
commercial.
They got
Yes.
you at least. Okay.
That's-
That was-
I'm good for
that
at
was the-
least-
that was the moral of your story.
If I could drink 12, I'm good for at least 6 now.
Fair
so-
enough. We'll go for Bud Light after this show.
Now, the irony is I don't get out much.
No, you
So-
just get your own little case. You know?
So 12 beers
It's not as
from a
pathetic.
Thursday to a Sunday with an occasional Monday night wing night with an occasional
It's
Thursday
not as
night
pathetic if you drink a case of Bud Light alone.
keg party.
Because Bud Light is so light on
Yeah,
you
I
that
know.
it really is like drinking some Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
It's really not that bad.
Darren Guzman chimed in, Stella Artois.
That was the best commercial.
Back,
'Cause
we've
it
got
had
an
the dude in it.
amazing spin the racks. We've got Rob Liefeld, and we've got a guy who took Mr. Freeze to the extreme.
You're listening to the Talking Alternative Network.
The Sire's about a superhero forced by his own costume to fight evil. It's like having a spider sense, but instead of warning him of danger, it actually puts him in danger. It was first launched back in 2006 through After Hours Press, and was met with tremendous success. 6 issues and a trade paperback later, I thought the Sire's journey had reached a good stop.
stopping point. But a funny thing happened. As I continued working in comics, writing for Zenescope and co-creating Descendant for Image Comics, fans would meet me at conventions and continually ask when the next issue was coming out. Apparently, Sire was far from done.
And that's why I'm proud to welcome you to this Kickstarter, celebrating the Volume 2 trade paperback for the Sire, collecting issues 7 through 10 and featuring an amazing cover by Jim Calafiore of Aquaman fame. The trade is an exciting way for readers, both new and old, to get into the character. And this trade doesn't just collect old material. It's jam-packed with almost 15 pages of new material, including a brand new prologue featuring the return of fan-favorite artist Daniel Leister.
Welcome back to Secrets of the Sire. We do this every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, talkradio.nyc. This was a cool show because we didn't have big-time Netflix producers. We didn't have podcast hosts. We didn't have Marvel executives. We just had me and you. And we had a whole bunch of Super Bowl commercials. And
that's why I say the show sucked.
what we do every week, we go spinning the
spin around, spin around.
Local man arrested after cosplaying Mr. Freeze and yelling cold weather puns at people.
Well,
I got so.
Was it too soon?
Let me do both a side story and a little backstory for all of our listeners. Right?
Yeah. Okay.
The backstory is it's been effing cold last week.
Yeah, this week
up until
warm.
This week was amazing. It was like 60 degrees, which is why I'm with the South Park guys, where I was never against climate change. Like I was never against like the science of it, but I was kind of like, I need to know there's proof. When it goes to like 14 and then all of a sudden it's like 60, I'm like, all right, I'm good. And even the South Park guys are like, all right, I guess Man Bear Pig is real. we should probably do something about it.
And we only have a few years left. So.
That's the backstory, right? The side story is, the cool part about doing this show is you just have people come out of the woodworks and they're like, I thought you'd be interested in this. And most of the time I'm like, I don't need to know about Stan Lee because I've known about Stan Lee for a long time. But a friend of mine, Jeff Buterman, sent me, local man arrested after cosplaying Mr. Freeze and yelling cold weather puns. This is from the Sioux Falls Headliner. A local man was arrested early Wednesday, that was last week, at Walmart after walking around the parking lot yelling cold weather puns at shoppers. He told me he was going to change the stop sign to say freeze. He was dressed up in some clear plastic that looked like hand-painted baby blue. That's what the article says. Right. To really get the whole ice look down. He was also trying to talk like Arnold did in Batman and Robin. I thought it was pretty funny. Not everyone thought the man's puns were funny, though.
Probably
the man told me I needed to cool it on the makeup I was wearing.
Oh, boy.
I took serious offense to that. Who says that to a person? I'm really thinking about suing him, said one woman we spoke with, who was actually... Wait, this is the best part. This is in the article. Said one woman we spoke with who was actually wearing too much makeup. Authorities were called after a few citizens were concerned in the man's
they were
well-being
concerned about
and
her
mental
makeup,
state.
not the guy dressed like Mr. Freeze.
They arrested her too.
There's a Joker out here and some guy dressed like Mr. Freeze.
The best part, though, is authorities were called after a few citizens were concerned about the man's well-being and mental state. Have they been to Comic-Cons?
Oh, my God.
There would be arrests everywhere.
Yeah.
Right?
But you still got to look into
That's like the glass line where Sarah Paulson's like, have you been to a comic book convention?
Yeah. However, if you were a cop you gotta look into the guy dressed like Mr. Freeze. You have to. If it's not a convention happening and it's just a random Wednesday, you gotta go check that guy out. You don't necessarily have to do anything to him.
Yeah.
You might just want to observe him running around and being silly. But you owe it to society at large to check that guy out at least once.
When we showed up to arrest him, he told my officers they needed to chill.
Come on, this guy's awesome.
They thought it was pretty funny, but we still brought him in for questioning.
You guys need to chill. Chill out, bird boy.
I literally just sunk my seat.
Yeah, I saw that.
With my last.
I was trying to hold the show while you had their technical difficulty over there.
The man was released after making more cold weather jokes on the way to the department.
You gotta admire how he.
I love him. I love that guy.
You gotta admire how he had enough cold weather jokes on hand to hold off an entire community.
How much prep work goes into?
That's a lot. That's a lot. And
that's a lot, right?
And I'm assuming it was cold that day anyway, right? So that's kind of brave to be out there in the cold wearing a costume, talking about how cold it is.
All right, before we go on
the nose, though.
Before we go on to the next story, Darren C. Guzman keeps telling me about the Stella Artois commercial. Yes, it starred the dude.
Yes, it did.
And I actually did kind of like the commercial. I'm not gonna lie.
It was a pretty funny commercial.
Victoria Bennett though wonders why even bother spending all that money for primetime spots if everyone was just gonna watch it earlier. The dude commercial was the only commercial I saw earlier.
Yeah, it's the only one that broke.
And quite frankly, I don't like watching the commercials before the Super Bowl.
And basically they broke the dude commercial early because when Jeff Bridges basically announced that he was putting his dude costume back on, everyone thought they were making a sequel.
Yeah.
So he kind of had to get control of that brush fire before people saw is this all, and then started breaking the place up. So that's the only reason we saw it early. I completely agree.
I don't want to see.
I agree. But you know what I think does suck? Sometimes you will see the commercial on the ball game night, and you will see the commercial, and it'll be this extended version of the commercial, and you won't be able to find that particular version of the commercial ever again. And that's what kind of bugs me. There'll be like a 2-minute feature commercial that's kind of a special thing, and you want to just see that version again, and then everywhere you look for it, it'll be like the edited version or the dumbed down version of it. That kind of gets on my nerves.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right, we got one more story tonight, and I think this is actually one I held over from last week as well too.
Mm-hmm.
It's from Chris Arant.
Okay.
Who's actually pronounced Chris Arant, but I think Arant is much better.
Myrtle.
I think you should totally do that. From Newsarama. Liefeld pulls out of Netflix deal. Shopping Extreme Universe elsewhere. Rob Liefeld has announced that his deal with Netflix
They fired him.
for film adaptations of his several Extreme titles is dissolved, and he is shopping the rights elsewhere. In a brief statement on Twitter, the Image Comics co-founder, said there was an impasse just months into the deal announced back in March. I get questions about Netflix all the time. After being in an impasse this summer, I took Extreme elsewhere for a better fit and deal. There is no Netflix deal more soon enough. Now, I'll tell you from experience, dealing with different production companies and dealing with Hollywood in general. I'm shopping a bunch of stuff, and I have people shopping things for me right now. It's such a cluster F. It's just such a cluster F. We have 3 different people shopping the same thing for us. And at the same time, we're like, yes to this, no to that. So when I read this, when you read this from the outside, you're kind of like, oh, what's going on? Did he get fired? Like you said, this and that. I'm just like, no, it's probably just Hollywood. It's probably just
yeah. It's no longer. I mean, the lesson learned from all this stuff is let the comic book people tell the stories that they want to tell.
Yeah.
From Marvel.
Well, that's why I always wanted to get into comics.
Right.
It's like you have total control.
Well, I mean, that's the overt. That's the message on top, right? That's the cover letter. Just let these guys, do what they want, and they look at MCU. You get that result.
Yeah.
But the reality of it is, they want the MCU result, but they still want control.
Yeah.
So they'll let someone like Liefeld come in and pitch his stuff, and they'll say, hey, we're very interested in this because we very much want to set this up. But we want to change all your characters into women, and we want to change all the, we want to make this, we want to make it in Seattle instead of New York because our demographic shows X because of Y.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you don't really want what I'm selling.
Yeah.
Then.
Yeah.
And that's kind of usually how it happens.
So here's the funny thing too. I'm just reading more of the article too. Back in March, when the deal was announced, Liefeld described it as a 7-figure rights deal for 6 extreme titles. I'm gonna play. Can you name these titles? Just say yes or no. Brigade.
Yeah.
Bloodstrike.
No.
That sounds like the wizard
Yeah.
name your Rob Liefeld character, which, by the way, popped up as a meme on Twitter and became huge as well. Cybrid.
No.
Rejects.
No.
Bloodwolf.
Yeah.
That
I've
was
heard of
the
Bloodwolf.
black and white, right? That was the image. What was the?
No,
it was like
Bloodwolf.
it was part
Bloodwolf
of that
was the
whole, like-
Wolverine.
No. But I'm saying it was
was
part of
red.
the anthology though
Maybe.
that Jim Lee did. Remember, it was Jim Lee had who was the Vietnam vet? When
Yeah,
he drove,
but that
where he
was-
basically was like, I want to draw like Frank Miller, and so he
Right,
drew
but
like
that
Frank
wasn't
Miller.
Bloodwolf.
Yeah,
though.
Bloodwolf was part of that.
He was
was
part of
part of
that,
that.
but that wasn't the character.
And Kaboom.
I don't know.
I think so. Other titles such as Youngblood, Prophet, and
Youngblood.
Evangeline weren't included in the deal. So I kind of have a feeling like Netflix is like,
No.
we're getting your sloppy seconds.
Yeah. Nobody knows who any of these characters are. They have no history, really.
Kind of don't want to be in business with you.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's my prediction. All right.
Kaboom.
Next
I mean, honestly.
week, check out my awesome interview with Macy Gray. She talks Spider-Man. She talks just music in general, which turns off most of our viewers. So I'm going to stick to the Spider-Man stuff as much as humanly possible. Tune in next week. We'll see you then.
You're